Okay, we are on. Yay. All right. So today I'm going to give similar teachings of what I gave during the Darshan, which is to help me out a bit, because this is a pretty heavy time. And I know everybody's in their thing, everybody's got the coronavirus and they've got a Trump coming out, and the world as it is, But it's nothing compared to what I deal with, yeah. I require the highest level of enlightenment around me in order for me to keep the light and then transmit that light. And that creates a science, an energetic field. And we're in the middle of something that everybody's channeling, everything I teach to try and get you out of delusions, illusions, glamours, things like that. Yeah, it's on the highest level of that right now. From coming from politicians and coming from news media and coming from humanity. Yeah. And because the lack of ability for humanity to step forward and do what they're meant to do as students of Christ for over 2,000 years, and they're not doing it, they have a choice in the matter. They have a choice to not criticize, not get negative, and not become emotional. And when they do, they become Trump. They become the embodiment of Trump in that moment. So that increases the astral field. It opens the door. It maintains the door. My job is to close that freaking door. Yeah. So there's nothing I say or do or impress on this world that has to do with Trump. To me, Trump is an illusion. He's a clown. He's an actor in a play. Yeah. And you have the Antichrist, who is Trump. And you can't see it, but you're in the middle of the play, and whether or not you are his little disciple, which he wants everybody to be, if you are, then you have a difficult time dealing with the reality that Jesus Christ is incarnated and talking to you and helping out, so there's a lot that's going on in order to change the infusion. So let's look at this one video. This is silent. I didn't put any audio in it, but it's just, this is about Trump tried to steal the election, and everybody goes, stealing the election. Well, he's the one who's doing it. He tells the DOJ to just tell them that it was a corrupt election, to just allow it to happen and let me take care of it after you tell everybody it's corrupt, And so that's just before this thing comes down. And while it's coming down on that Wednesday, everything is flipping out except for Trump. It says here, Trump sitting in the dining room in the Oval Office, having a great time watching the process, And everybody's trying to talk him out of it. And he hates Pence so much because he didn't do what he was meant to do. So he begins sending out a little tweet, in order to help the process continue on and make it worse than it already is. So he tweets out to everybody and tells them that, he didn't pull off keeping me in office. He didn't stop the counting of the votes, He negated all of our rights. So he is our enemy. And there was nothing his staff could do about it. They couldn't get him to write something or do something and stop it because they were taking over Washington. Everybody was watching it on TV. He was watching it on TV. The gallows were set up to kill if they found anybody, to hang them. And he sees that on TV. He sees it, but he does nothing. And everybody's trying to get him, to show some interest in something other than the fact that, yay, there's an insurrection. They're doing this for me. So at 2:24, he writes his first tweet, and he tells everybody, that Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to change the vote. Yeah, and all of that, from then and on and everywhere we're at, that's all part of an illusion inside the mind of one man. And everybody's witnessing it. Everybody's witnessing it. People in the White House is going, can't you see it? Can't you see all that's going on? Won't you help? You know, he just sits there and he sees a whole other thing. He sees that everybody's there for him. His cult is working. Inside of his mind, this is what he wanted. You know? But the problem is that it didn't work. It didn't turn it over. It didn't get Pence. It didn't scare everybody. They didn't go away. They did finish the vote by that evening. You know? And it was all secured on that day, as it was supposed to be, according to hundreds of years of doing this sort of thing. Yeah. So he continued that process. And in doing that, now he's going through a channeling process. It was all channeling in the beginning. It was all about him channeling everybody. You got to be loyal. If you're not loyal, you're out. You know, you got to do illegal things. You got to do exactly what I say, or you're out. Yeah. And he fired one after another, after another, after another, after another. Then he tweets again and he says, he tells them, you're special people, and appearing that they are, you know, there for him. You know, and he thanks them for coming. Thanks a lot. And his whole focus is in the process, in his mind. His whole focus is that he was not defeated. And he believes that all of America believes he was not defeated. Yeah. So there was nothing happened on that day.
These were great people.
Listen what he says.
The crowd was unbelievable. And I mentioned the word love, the love in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
Is this illusion? Is that delusion? Does anybody on earth, any person who saw it that day, he saw it, any person on earth see it this way? Can they say it this way? After he says it, yes, they can. Why? Because he's the leading channel. Until he says it, until he thinks it, you don't think it. Because it's so freaking crazy. It's coming from his mind. And none of you believe in the reality of that individuals can control your mind. You know? And they've been doing it in Russia for years. Yeah? And the reason why they want him as a president is because he's a receiver and a transmitter. And they can use him to receive and to transmit their thought forms, their ideologies. You know, so here you got a guy who loves Putin. He loves North Korea. He loves the Chinese. He loves it all. Yeah? Because he's channeling a collective embodiment of very, very evil dictators that are living on the planet as of today. And once he got into that position, he channeled it even more. And he wanted that power. Yeah? And that power, it goes into humanity. It infuses into humanity. So look around. How many kids have been shot in the last month in the United States? How many kids? Look it up. Look it up. How many kids were shot in a theater for no reason whatsoever? In a hit style. Someone walks in with a gun, walks right up to the two of them and shoots them in the head. Like a hitman. Yeah? It's planned. Psychologically, it doesn't make any sense, but under channeling, it makes a lot of sense. This is a level of condition. It's a level of thinking. If you have jealousy, you have rage, you have hate. It is a glamour. And a glamour gets into people and it manifests, it stirs up into thought forms. And you pick out a material thing and you identify with it as a thought form, as a desire body. And it's delusional. It can come in dreams. Yeah? It can come in your wish for fulfillment in your life before you die. And it's complete illusion. Complete illusion. Yeah? And this, to be able to heal this, for me, you know, I'm Buddha, you know, so we have a specific teaching. 500 years before I got here, you know, it was laid down. Yeah, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, yeah, the three jewels, the four noble truths, yeah, the eightfold path, yeah. All that was laid down, yeah. And it was Jesus who then put it into the Mahayana and made it possible for everybody to gather together and think about this, but lift it up into a higher stage, explaining to everybody that we reincarnate. He explained that thoroughly during his life. And he created the Mahayana. And that Mahayana is the way in which you become enlightened in a single life. And that's taught by Jesus the Christ. That is what is in our world. Yeah, it's instilled by our teacher. Yeah, it's in the teacher's heart. The teacher knows this, but the students don't. Yeah, because they're more on this other side of their personality, to where they are attracted to and then radiate because of their speech, because of their thoughts. Yeah, because they don't relate to Buddha, they relate to Trump. They don't relate to Jesus the Christ, they relate to Trump and Trumpians and lower astral thought forms that are all glamours. And there are thousands of them. Yeah? And you can see all these people out there with their look and their way of life and everything, and they literally look like they're drawn on a chalkboard to be an illusion, making their life into an illusion and a delusion. They've been deluded to think they look like that. And then they talk like that. If you look at them, you put them all together in a room and they all look the same, it'll trip your mind out when you ask them to say something. And they all sound the same. And they sound weird. They have a twang, they have a weirdness, of their own nature. And it's not theirs. It's a spirit. And that spirit holds their body, holds their personality. And that's everybody. Everybody is in that same boat. Yeah. So the teachings of the Dharma, the process of the Buddha, the process of the Sangha, the understanding, how to get out of this. Well, let's just consider, if you, I mentioned, how many kids died? Well, that's suffering, is it not? Yeah. And yet we're not really that aware of it, that there has been more shootings in the last 3 months since Trump got out of office. And he got into more of a rage, more of the influence of his emotions. Because he's a killer. He wants to kill people. He wants people shot in prison, put in prison. He wants death all around. Yeah, he doesn't have compassion, empathy, an intellectual mind. He has nothing. He is just hate, pure hate. And then all the glamours that come with it, all the personality characteristics that come with it. Yeah. So all of that influence is purging into the planet because he's being judged. He's being judged. He's being found out. Yeah. His tax records are coming out. Yeah. His child molestation reality is going to come together. His taking over the government on January 6th, he's going to be prosecuted for that. Yeah. And he's going to pay billions of dollars in restitution for so many things, let alone tax, loss of buildings. He's in the worst business for this period of time. If you're a hotel owner, a golf club owner, nobody goes there. They all got masks, they don't want to go, they can't be in public, it's all shut down. For 1.5 years, he's had no income. No income. And he's lost businesses. He's had to sell them cheap. He sold his 2 helicopters and a plane just in the last month. Yeah? Shit is happening. And the devil, the focus of the devil is money. You don't even know money doesn't exist. It does not exist. We made it up. Made the whole thing up. Yeah? To create capitalism. Yeah? And we could be sharing, caring, keeping record, being honest, all kinds of things. It's so simple, to collect your honest wages, to get what you deserve. People honestly caringly, sharingly. We do this by nature. We do not need money. Yeah? We work. Yeah? We trade. Yeah? We barter. Yeah? But we don't use this thing money, because money leads to credit. And it leads to, debt. And that leads, in the end, it leads to slavery, indentured slavery. Money leads to slavery. All slavery that's ever existed, that leads all the way from pure slavery to indentured slavery. Indentured's the worst. That's Tibetan. It's the worst. It's where your great-grandmother needed money to pay for grandpa's final death. And they didn't have that much money, so they borrowed it from a Rinpoche or somebody who owned land. And they go, okay, but you got to pay it back, and you got to do that through indentured service for the rest of your life. And if you die early, this goes on to your children, because this is 40 years of indentured service. You have to give me 40 years. And if you're 35 years old, you're probably going to have to live that. So it keeps getting passed down. And this keeps going on, and to the point to where you're owing for your land, your animals, food. When you're hungry, you borrow for that. You're learning to borrow. Yeah? And you're learning to be taken advantage of. Because where I come from, when a person's in need, you give it to them. You don't ask for it back. You don't ask for money for it, if they're in need. And if they can't make trade or something like that, then we work it out. We find a compassionate, understanding way, because no one loses. It all comes around. It all comes around. Yeah, it's part of the Dharma. It's part of ending suffering. Yeah, but it's a long road to that. A long road. Yeah, But we have amongst us, in the midst, we have the incarnations of Mussolini and Hitler and Stalin and every single one of them, from Hirohito, you name them, they're back. And they're running amok, and they love politics, and they run shit like you wouldn't imagine. And they do it with outrageous sense of victory, because they've never been caught. They might have lost battles, but they didn't lose the battle before they died. So as far as they're concerned, they're still winning. Yeah, and they're amongst the group. They're not amongst NATO. They're opposite of NATO. Yeah, they will work with certain dictators in order to take over the weak. Yeah, but they're like Trump. Well, let's abolish NATO. We don't do that. Let's abolish helping the earth. We don't do that either. Let's abolish, anything to do with, goodness, kindness, money for children, money for people, Let's lower the taxes on the rich. Yeah. That was the behavior of Trump. Yeah. And all of that influence is a channeling. It's a channeling. These people reincarnate. Yeah. And they carry that reincarnation with them. If we can catch them at this point in time, and humanity can begin the process of taking on ending suffering. Ending suffering. And you can only do that by being harmless. Yeah, and it's really hard to be harmless. You can practice all the Dharma you want, but unless the Buddha's incarnated in the world, and you take relationship to that Buddha, you don't receive the Buddha, and that's the first jewel. It's not about books or lamas or people telling you about Buddha in history, because they're all crazy in their head. Yeah, they're like the Dalai Lama, upset with his watch, let alone other things. The man's not right, and that's because he's not Buddha. Yeah, he shouldn't be expected to be. But that's the problem, is that we have a desire body. We desire the Dalai Lama to be enlightened before he's enlightened. Our desire body does that, and they tell us he is that. So then we believe it. And what if he's not? How dangerous is that for us? Where do we receive any imprint? When he's actually using ceremonial magic and the dark forces to harm the Dalai Lama's relationship to the Karmapa, or the incarnations of different tukus all over the place. He wants to abolish that, meaning he wants to abolish the holy recognition of a master reincarnating and helping that master get out of a family, enter into monastic life, and be supported by a group of other masters we call the Sangha. Yeah? And he wants to abolish that. And you don't have any of this. It's not a clue to your idea of what's going on. So there's a lot of delusion in this world where you think the Pope's this, you think the Dalai Lama's this, you think even Trump is a president. But he's not. He's a child molester, he's a rapist, he's a tax evader, he is the worst corrupt, demigod in his class. He's a playboy who rapes women and gets away with it during a time that rich men would get away with having sex with little girls. He was in that cycle of time because that's reincarnation. They all come. Yeah. So they just lived it out, but they're being judged. They're going to jail. They're entering the first ladder of heaven, judgment. If we don't have judgment, if we don't catch these people, if I don't use my enlightenment to shine light on what is deluding you and help you realize that if you cannot be deluded, which means you got to be really harmless. It's not about following somebody. It's about following the right relationship to the Christ. Yeah. And that means you have to be self-realized. You have to self-heal. You have to end a lot of problems. And the only way to do that is through the 8 noble paths. Yeah. The process in which we negotiate. So let me show you a bit of that. This is the 3 jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. Buddha is known as the enlightened one, and that's not just because, we believe this, because in a state of delusion, you don't know. You don't know if he's enlightened, yeah? So, because we're all in a state of delusion. But if the enlightened one comes, then that is a point of truth, a reference, a control energy that allows things to relate. So this is our beginning. We can tap into this as a beginning, Buddha, and then out of that, out of his mouth, out of his being, out of his practice, out of his life, becomes the Dharma. So he talks through you, telling you the process of how to live your life, how to end suffering, not just for yourself, but all mankind. And it works. It will work. Yeah? Simply because this enlightened one chooses not to leave this planet and never reincarnate again. And yet that's news to everybody who practices Buddhism. They believe the Buddha left and the Buddha don't come back. Because he seeked nirvana. He didn't seek nirvana. He seeked enlightenment. Yeah? So that's the teaching, is to bring you to enlightenment, not to take you to nirvana, but to take you to enlightenment. Yeah. So you had to free yourself from suffering to do that. Yeah. And then the Dharma. The Dharma is defined, it's a cosmic order. So imagine, here comes the incarnation of the avatar, the Christ or the Buddha, the individual, not a collective body of a bunch of people and all that kind of stuff. It's just a individual, yeah? And that is a light in darkness, yeah? That is a seed of God coming to a place of hell, yeah? Where all war takes place. People buy guns and people beat their wives and all kinds of neat things go on here in this place, yeah? And it is not heaven. It is not godly. Yeah? It has evil in it, and it expresses evil. So this relationship of the avatar incarnating gives a possibility for the earth to receive words that are truthful. Words that don't represent anything to do with illusion or delusion, with the law of hate. Yeah? So he represents the law of love. Yeah, but he does it through wisdom, and he lives his life. As he lives his life, he tells other people, well, this is what I chose to do. Yeah, this is what I have to do. I can't think like that. No, because I can see what comes of it. I can't do it. So I recommend you do the same thing. Yeah. And no, I can't live off air. So I eat. And this is what I eat. Yeah. I expect you should do the same thing. Yeah. These are cosmic laws that bring order into a highly complicated human race that is completely inhumane in its own nature because it's too freaking complicated. Yeah. So Dharma simplifies everything, brings it down, but you got to listen to the teacher, and the teacher slowly but surely will recite to you the process of your diet, your daily activity, what kind of work are you doing, how is that supporting humanity, is it supporting you, all those things. If that isn't done, then you're not receiving the teachings of Dharma. You're just going along with life. You're looking up things on, oh, what should I be eating? I don't know, maybe vegetarian. I think I'll do all coleslaw for 6 months. You know, just, it's a lost soul. Yeah, it's a process of the lost soul. So the Buddha is a process of enlightenment that is the soul. So if you don't follow any other point, which you will, there's no doubt about it. I don't care who you are, how high you are, you know, how long you've known me, you know, any of that. You're still follow the lesser teacher. Yeah? Because you have this delusion of grandeur that doesn't stop. It has to do with yourself. Yeah? And you're seeking personal enlightenment. You can't seek personal enlightenment. You have to learn compassion and empathy and harmlessness. Then you get enlightenment. And that enlightenment allows you to listen to what I'm saying. Yeah? And you reflect on it and you go, oh, I agree with that. I'm going to try that out. I'm going to do that. And then you realize that this is a very, very rare process in this teaching. Very synthesized, and slowly but surely it leads to greater and greater teaching that ends suffering. Altogether ends suffering. Yeah? And there's very little in this world that we can think that's going to end suffering. You know, so one of the triggers of Buddhism is that Jesus Christ is Buddha. Yeah. So when we take on that relationship, we look at, you know, here we look at, go to number 232 there. If you see the dissipation of glamour, that's done by Jesus. Yeah. Within the world of illusion, the world of the mental plane, appeared Christ, the Lord of love himself, who embodied in himself the power of the attractive will of God. Yeah? So what does that mean? You know, attractive will of God. It means that by giving the teaching of the Dharma, yeah, by being the Buddha, incarnation, that's the truth. Here I am. And I am really unique. You can't talk to anybody, hear anybody, no matter what website you go to, no matter what bottle you look at, no matter what thing you read, no matter what belief system you get into, because that is all your selfishness. It has nothing to do with me. I will lead you out of it slowly but surely, but it'll all come to me. Now, all of it. Yeah? Every single thing you need, from water to food, you know, to where you live and how you live and what you do when you live. All of that is answered by Buddha, by Christ, in a real way. Yeah? So the process is that I attract people to become like-minded. That establishes the Sangha. That's the law of love. Yeah? So I radiate through my teachings into people, and I teach these people, and those people slowly but surely, their hearts of all mankind, and stated this determination in these words. This is what Jesus said. And I, if be lifted from the earth, and that doesn't mean taken away from the earth, it means being able to see the earth without delusion, being completely detached. Yeah? Then will draw all mankind unto me. From that point, they then will have reached the world of spiritual perception, of truth, of divine ideas, and will stand revealed. The result will be the disappearing of illusion, the disappearing of it. Yeah? There's only one God. Yeah? And God in truth is Godhead. Yeah? But I know for a fact that if I didn't set the rule, no one talks, no one asks a question, no one does any of that. This would be constantly hands up. Oh, hey, wait, I answer this. Hey, let me ask this, It'd be like that. It was always like that, and it is like that, whether I'm in this room or not. But in this room, I set the stage. I say, you can't do that. And, be quiet. Just be receptive. You're not going to get up. You're not going to learn to draw. You're not going to get anything out of it other than Dharma. Just Dharma teachings. Yeah? But those Dharma teachings affect the world as it turns. The presence that we're in the world right now. Yeah? And by me being in the world, I'm setting a new time, a new way of looking at the world. Yeah? Imagine that we have we have Trump, and we're trying to get out of dealing with Trump as a person. Where's that? I think it's 2. I got 3 places to search from, and they get mixed up. Okay. Okay, so in the process of the path, and this is all by nature, yeah? It's everybody's nature. The problem is that it's not your nature. Yeah, it needs to be awakened. Yeah, but in a pagan world, you look at a flower, you see the flood, and you go, "Oh, Mother Nature's doing it again." So you're literally saying words that are part of a very wrong way of understanding life. How life works. Yeah, so they just have a tendency to just express, a knee-jerk like thing. Yeah, but in our world, in the world that we're at. Our world is based on suffering. Yeah, it's the truth. All things are based on suffering. So take a look at this. In the Four Noble Truths, there are 4 noble truths that exist regarding suffering. Suffering is constant. Everything around us causing suffering, even those that bring about pleasure, since they are all impermanent. This impermanence makes us crave and desire them, more leaving us in a state of discontentment and thus more suffering. There we go. Yeah, so the process is that the 4 truths, the 4 processes of understanding is the process of being able to relate to the fact that we create this suffering. The suffering that we're in, we create it. And that it's manifested by a lack of empathy, a lack of a response, our ability, which comes with enlightenment. So in the Sangha, there are initiations that takes us through levels of enlightenment through reincarnation. Yeah, but the process is that you have to know where you're at. You have to know you're a Buddhist, and you got to live a life knowing you're a Buddhist, and you got to live a life knowing, okay, now I've been a layperson, now I'm a monk, and now I'm really going to be dedicated in my work. I'm going to try harder. I'm going to let go of my ego. My attachments to life itself. Now imagine when you become a monk, that's when you do lose attachment to life itself. Yeah, you're no longer under the control of anything. You have made a commitment. And that's going to come back around over and over and over again, because the only one that comes back around is Buddha. Yeah? Everybody else, you may be a dog. You may be a cat. You may incarnate, but your mom doesn't want you. So you go away as a little zygote. Yeah? And you don't make it. The worst it gets is that you don't make it for about 30 or 40 years because moms just keep getting rid of you. Yeah? And once you come in, you don't get the chance of coming right back, you know. You don't, boot, you're gone, you know. This takes time to bring about a soulful, cosmic relationship. You know, so it could take 3 to 5, 6 months for that same person to come back into the chance of taking an incarnation. But that chance in the United States or in other places, women just get rid of it. Yeah? You know, so what are the chances of you actually getting that incarnation? It's rare. It's really rare. And what is the chance that the first one you would have gone into would have been the best one? And the third and fourth and fifth and sixth down the line, as you keep getting, murdered, yeah, your karma gets worse. Yeah, because that is you're alive, you have consciousness, and you're being aborted. That does not make a good relationship to your feeling toward life, toward a wife or a husband, toward a brother or a sister, toward anybody. Yeah, and in this world, we do this a lot. So how are we going to get anything but the kids we see with all the tattoos, and they feel like they've been tortured over and over again? Well, they have. Yeah, and we take none of that in consideration unless you're a Buddhist. And this Buddhism of the Dalai Lama and other lesser teachers, you don't get any of this information. Yeah, it's important. Because you got to know why you're suffering so much. And from that, you need to know why you're not going to suffer, because you're not going to do this anymore. And if you're a monk or a nun, you really cut that out. You've cut out all this, chauvinistic bullshit that you have to learn from your husband. All this manipulation and messing around with your mind you have to learn from your wife. As though this is what you're incarnated for. Shouldn't be you receiving Dharma teachings instead, rather than the bullshit you get from these relationships, from your boss telling you should stay longer and get paid less. Commitments, loyalty, obligation, all these things. We didn't incarnate to sign up for that. As Buddha, I'm here to walk you out of it. End your suffering. But it's a long road. In Sangha, there are 4 initiations you have the opportunity to take. You don't even start until you can stay absolutely committed with the level of taking the commitment of being a nun or a monk. It is extended Sangha. It is a layperson. And a layperson has very little connection with the thought of giving up their ego. Because when you become a monk or a nun, there's always that, oh my God, I gave up my life. My life. I'm going to die here. My life. I mean, I could have been president. I could have been this. I could have been that. Your ego just goes off on you, I could be in a van. I could be searching the world in freedom, Your ego just keeps going off on you. But to be in the Sangha, it means that you're fighting for your soul in a soulless world. And it's a soulless world. And you want to do something about it. So you make this commitment to get through the first initiation. And for the first 2 initiations, there's going to be your fellow members are going to talk you into leaving. So it doesn't work out very well for a long time. Imagine, I incarnated in 1951. So it won't be until around 2030, 2050 till the Sangha really starts developing. And that'll, if I do well, I'll still be alive. If not, I'll reincarnate and I'll start again right around 9, 10, or 11. And you'll have this little kid as your teacher. But you're going to have to cope with that. Because I am not who you think. When Superman incarnates, And you're not Superman. But if you define what is Buddha, Buddha in the terms in Hindi means Superman. Yeah, a Superman, super spiritual being. Yeah, and that's what we all can attain. Yeah, is enlightenment. But you gotta fight against every devil entering you, and every spirit controlling you, and every emotion that comes out your tongue and out your mind, how you react to another person's demons. Holy moly, man! I'm telling you, this place is an absolute. It's like going to a clown fair. Yeah, just watching the news. Yeah, seeing the circumstances. Look at your president. Yeah, so it's really important for us to realize that we have the opportunity to enter into the Sangha. Not as a layperson, but as a Sangha member. And if we can enter into the Sangha as a Sangha member, one person entering the Sangha, staying within the Sangha, saves hundreds of thousands of people who are connected to their soul. Their soul, their mother, their father, their aunt, their future children, their past friends and uncles, all the people who they were associated with in previous lives that they helped, and they were helped them to get to where they're at today. All of those are relationships. Those are extended Sangha. Like-minded people that you don't know yet. But if you enter into the Sangha, you will bless every single one of them. It's the science of the soul. It's the ascension. Yeah? But you don't get that as a layperson. You get to witness, oh yeah, you get all this revelation. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, it's just like he said, floods, fires, we got diseases that are getting worse. Yeah. Crazy presidents, crazy people, Yeah, just like he says. But you're not listening to everything I'm saying. Yeah. The key to everything is the fact that there is an answer to this, and that the process is that we are not materialistic, capitalistic people. We are human beings on the way to become Buddhas. Yeah? We're not here to be train conductors or mathematicians and all that. We can use our intellect, we can gain our understanding and essences of getting to know more of the truth and working out science. Revealing the truth and more in truth with science. Yeah? But that doesn't have anything to do with materialism. It has to do with revealing God in matter and allowing matter to become less imperiled. So then we become more ecological, more concerned, less willing to, but it requires wisdom, enlightenment, meditation. You have to go through these 8 processes, and they're a process that allows you to become the person you're meant to be. So let's look. Okay, so this is the Eightfold Path. And the Four Noble Truths is the fact that everything is suffering. All desire is suffering, life is suffering, eating is suffering, wanting to eat something is suffering, wanting to stay alive is suffering, because you're going to die. So then you're going to get depressed and you're going to think, well, how long am I going to live and what my life going to be like, all these different things. Everything is suffering. Yeah. So what is it that causes suffering? It's the mind. It's your mind. Yeah. You could be in another place in this full state of enlightened consciousness in the inner world, in your mind. And with that, you can alter the outside world with thought form building. And you do this through meditation. You do this by controlling your freaking mind. And to do that, you have to control your speech. Because what comes out your mouth is what's going on in your head. It's telling people. It's very telling. Yeah. So most people who are seeking, enlightenment don't speak at all. Yeah. They have very little conversation with anybody. Yeah. And that's a good choice. Really good choice. Yeah. But our process in the Eightfold Path is right view, right intention, right action, right speech, right livelihood, right effort, then mindfulness and meditation. So all this right view, that would be where your head's at. Yeah. How are you seeing this? Are you angry? Are you pissed off? Are you judgmental? Are you critical? Are you thinking that person da-da-da-da? What is going on in your head? You know, because you could be inside as a producer, a director, an editor of life. Yeah? And you just have all kinds of things that go on in your head to create the life that you're living. But it isn't true. You die tomorrow, that life continues. So you're not the one maintaining this life. Yeah? But you can certainly mess it up. Yeah? So how do you know you're doing the right thing? Yeah? Through right view. Yeah? And you got to practice all 8 of these things. How do you get right view? You meditate. Yeah? How do you get right intention? You have mindfulness. Yeah? You keep going back in your mind, going, oh, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. And that can go on 24 hours a day for quite a while. And after a while, you find you're not doing it. It's not happening. It's not a struggle. Yeah? Because it turns into right action. Your actions become an aspect of your mindfulness. Your speech becomes an aspect of your meditation, an aspect of your mindfulness. It becomes the expression of your effort. How much effort do you put into it? How kind you become. Yeah? Yeah, so right view or right understanding means being able to understand that life is full of suffering. We need to embrace the 4 Noble Truths and learn from it. It means to understand life, death, and rebirth. It means to understand the path towards enlightenment. It states to understand the 3 marks of existence. And 3 marks of existence is the fact that when you take an incarnation, you incarnate in these 3 existing realities. Yeah? Impermanence, the not self, and suffering. Yeah? It just is. Yeah? But the reality is that we are impermanent. And the reality is that we do not really have a self. It's impermanent. We reincarnate. We come, we go. We come, we go. So we're very impermanent, just like water. Just like water. Yeah? And yet, you put water in a cup, you think you got it. Yeah? You break that cup, you ain't got it. Yeah? Just like water. Yeah? You cannot hold on to it. You can't. It's outside of nature. You can't. You're a human being. You're all the elements. Then the right view combines understanding of the 3 marks of existence and the 4 Noble Truths understanding of karma. Wisdom is the key to enlightenment. Then right intention. Our intentions shape our thoughts and actions. They signal us. Now intention can come from, if it's in the heart, it comes from a place of realizing that your first intention wasn't so good. So I'm going to use mindfulness, and I'm going to use my meditation, and I'm going to have a better intention, because I have realization, and I'm calmer now, because at first is usually a knee-jerk kind of thing coming from your solar plex. But if you wait a second, it goes up into your heart, and it goes up into your soul, mind, rather than your lower mind, which would then say something that you didn't mean to say. Didn't mean to say it. And you go, what the heck? How did that come out? How is it I reacted like that? What is going on? That's where everything comes back around. Yeah, because you're healing yourself from yourself. Your not self, your true self, your soul is a real thing. And it lives forever. Forever. And constantly is in charge of you as a potential. Yeah? And all your initiations give you that power. Bring you into that soul. So you in suffering, you do not die. Yeah? We need to embody mindfulness, less of greed, delusions, and desires. Then right action. Right action means not engaging in evil acts such as killing or hurting fellow human beings, stealing or having sexual misconduct, or taking in intoxicants such as drugs or alcohol. Buddha teaches that We need to turn away from cruelty and evil acts and only partake in acts of kindness and love. We need to show compassion and care toward others. All this happens through mindfulness, meditation, calm, take it easy, take a breath, Don't just say, if you want to be like Trump, you just say what's in your mind. You just comes out. You have no control over it. And there's so many people out there. 9/10 of the human race is built on that process. Then we all look at people who can speak the loudest, get on the biggest pulpit, and put all the glamour shit together on their body so that they get the attention. And that's all it's for. It is ego. So right action teaches that to turn away from cruelty, evil acts, and only partake in acts of kindness and love. We need to show compassion and care toward others. Where'd it go? Okay. And then right speech. And the way it's presented is that there's ways to speak. And it's, the first thing is timeliness. Is this the time to speak? Because 9 times out of 10 you're in meditation. And then mindfulness. And speech is not part of it. And that means talking to someone through text or through even looking up something in order to get communication and share and all that kind of stuff. Just all of that is speech. So speak at the right time, speak in truth, speak affectionately. Speak beneficially. Speak with the mind of goodwill. And that's it. Nothing else comes out of it. This means that one should only speak if the words will help others. If what is said is true, and the speech should be kind and helpful. And finally, a person should speak only to promote goodwill. This means that we should shun slander, gossip, argumentative speech, false witness to another, or words spoken in spite. We should never spread rumors and try to avoid nagging. Little things, nagging is a big one. You don't even know that you're nagging, reminding a person, don't forget, do this, do that, and as though they don't do it 100 times, It's better to be kind, which means in goodwill, than your process is to benefit the person. And in one lower mind, benefiting is to remind. That's nagging. But on the higher side is to not to do that and see it get fulfilled. And then from that, you get in your mouth, in your mind, and how you express. You're expressing goodwill, but you're also seeing the goodwill turn into manifestation. You're not in charge of it. You're just supporting the Sangha. That's what Sangha means. When you're taking initiations, you're doing it all together, collectively. As you're being kind, others get kinder. And the hundreds of thousands of people that you are supporting in maintaining this delusion out there in the world, as you step away and enter more into Sangha, those hundreds of thousands of people enter into Sangha as lay people without you ever asking them to. They just do. Because we are connected. You do not know the cosmic relationship of our place in this plan. How many people we know, how many we are in totality responsible for. Not just your children or your mom or your dad or your brothers or your sisters. You've been alive so long. It's hard for you to imagine the benefit when you start turning the wheel of Dharma. It ends the illusion. It ends the illusion. The illusion is that we're separate. I'm teaching you that we're not separate, and you better act up, or whatever I do isn't going to work, because I require the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. I put all my faith in the Sangha. All my faith goes there. And then right speech. Right speech states that speaking, right time, I did that. Right effort. Right effort means that being able to combine action and intention in order to attain freedom from suffering. It means disregarding desires that cause suffering to oneself and to others. It means setting aside time for meditation. It means not succumbing to immoral sexual desires. It means to be practicing mindfulness when it is most difficult to do so. Without the right effort, all the teachings of Buddhism cannot be followed by anyone, be it lay person or a member in the Sangha. That's why I made these tapes, all these CDs and pujas and everything, and I do the darshans, I do these teachings in order to help you to know that you should know these teachings, you should practice this way, and that meditation is important. So by me doing my pujas, I make it pretty. I make it attractive. I make it something that stimulates your soul and heals your soul. It brings harmony to you and the cosmos, because I'm doing this for planetary healing and personal healing. Right now, it's personal, but in the end, it will be planetary. And you're not doing that. You're not capable of doing that. It's not like there's anything wrong with you and you're supposed to do that. It's just that we are a group, and we have to do this as a collective, because Satan has used everyone to create the law of hate as a collective, just by making people believe in suffering. And unless you can be taught how to not suffer, and that suffering is completely delusionary and illusionary, and it does happen, but it's temporary. Yeah? And then right meditation. Right meditation is the ability to let the mind focus on one thing. Now imagine that, you got a problem, you got a situation, you want mindfulness, you want your intention correct. Well, to do that, you have to practice meditation to help your mind learn to direct itself. First it really needs to have no intention. Yeah? It needs to have nothing but a single one-pointedness, which is the meditation itself. Quietness of mind. No emotions. No concern. Complete detachment. So that's what you're learning during meditation. You're learning the art of detachment. And it's not a bad thing. It is where your soul resides. Yeah? And once you step into that and get real quiet, you realize that attitude is not yours, and that you can let it dissolve. And that's what I'm talking about. That will dissolve. Yeah? And as it dissolves in you, it dissolves in hundreds of other thousands of people. Yeah? And the whole world, because you're all from different countries, I have made this in a way that you can't get away from this. Yeah? Every single person from all around the world is on my continent. Yeah? So nothing's not touched. Every piece of land is touched. And you're all from different locations and different lives. You're from different locations. Yeah? So planetarily, we are emanating a quality of Christ-likeness. Yeah? What can help people become better and heal and not follow Satan and all dark forces is for them to be able to see, witness, and become the students to Christ. Yeah? So that's what the Sangha does. The Sangha practices enough to where they heal enough people, millions and billions of people. Yeah? And they heal those people, and that makes it possible for those people to receive their teacher. And as they become higher initiates, they're more in their heart. then in their mind, and they're not afraid to say their teacher is alive and well and on earth and would love to meet with them. Yeah? Here's the tools, here's their Vajra, everything. Those are just the second initiation, and enters into the third when we actually do come to a place where we have no more Trumps walking around. Everybody, and how you get rid of Trumps is that everybody goes, wow, that man's crazy. Everybody, no matter who. And people who follow them like crazy, they all just go, wow, I don't know what happened. But that man's nuts. He's crazy. He's crazier than shit. I mean, bad things I see on TV, yeah, he's just like that. I don't want to be bad things. I don't want to be the things and bad things, So then that changes everything. Changes our interest in TV, our interest in what's on the media, our interest, because right now it's Fox News and One American News and this and that if you're following Satan. Yeah? And if you're able to stay open-minded, you're going to see that other media are waking up. They're getting the light, and it's the light of Christ. Yeah? And they are able to turn their back and literally bring law in on Satan. Surround his ass. Bring it up, just like we ousted, our previous Tricky Dick. Yeah? We did that in the exact same way. Yeah? Right after I got out of the military, right after that. I focused that, meditated on that. Man was out of there within the year. And only 3 years in service for me, I ended the war of Vietnam. So it's all Sangha. It's all a practice of raising Sangha up and bringing this into the end of the illusion. The illusion is our problem. The illusion, you thinking that we're supposed to be in a world of industry where we're making steel and running things with gas and all these things, as though that is absolutely necessary. Well, stop eating cereal. Yeah? Stop eating, Oreo cookies. Stop eating 99% of what you consume, because what you consume has to be produced. Yeah? That's the Sangha. Yeah? And as we wake up and become aware of the fact, oh my God, I don't even have a choice. Yeah? I can't be vegetarian. It'll kill me. Yeah? I can't do it this way. It will kill me, and it'll kill anybody else. So if I just follow, the very simple life that he points out, I live long, I feel happy, I am healthy, and I could tell other people the truth, and they could follow the same direction. That's the Sangha. That's the Sangha. And you could see that manifest through hundreds of thousands of people rather than you running around like a Christian zealot saying, oh, Jesus is here. Have you met Jesus yet? Have you awakened to the light of Jesus? Everybody is awakening to the light of Jesus. That's what Sangha should be saying. Yeah? Jesus is hitting you and destroying evil and wiping everything away and turning it around and redeeming you. And only the evil is getting judged. You're going to be, 99% of everybody's going to step back and say, shit, I thought it was me. I thought I was the one destroying this place. Come to find out, it was North Korea, China, Russia, Trump, just a few nutheads. Even Cuba has got enough soul in it to where it's rioting and it wants the government erased, wiped away. No more communism. Yeah? Where before they had no legal right to do so. They couldn't even have telephones, cars, anything, internet. They just got that not so long ago. Yeah? This Christ light is getting the nations to wake up through the Sangha, the influence of the Sangha. Yeah? So it's important that we realize that the pujas that I put out are the number one key to the relationship of moving people from the probationary path of getting healing and dropping away from Trump to actually putting their devotion and their relationship with God and all the things they're missing, their soul, into their body quickly by introducing them to the music and the tools. Yeah? By doing that, you help a person heal what it is they've been doing for all their lives. Yeah? Then all of a sudden, that can't happen anymore. And it shuts off all those bad things that they were as a group willing to do. Yeah? They can't do it anymore. There is no leading force in evil. No such thing. Yeah? Evil does not work as a group. Evil competes and fights against another and waits for the other one to lose and then devours that person through gossip and all kinds of illusions and delusions, just like Trump. Just like Trump. Just like all the friends of Trump. Yeah? Whether it be Giuliani or whoever you're talking to. Anybody in league with Trump is nutty in their fruitcake, like that pillow guy. You know? And we all know he's nuts. You know? It's just becoming so available, so understandable. Yeah? And that's where it's at. It's in the level of understanding. When we get to a place where we have a collective level of understanding, you know, then all of a sudden the laws are standing there waiting to put these people in court. You know, and not just let them go because we have loyalty in the wrong place. Yeah? Courts are Republicans or Democrats, and they have loyalty under an illusionary state. No, you're wealthy, you're rich, you're a congressman, you're a president. We can't touch you. We can only go so far. Yeah? But that ends in the process of ending this illusion. Yeah? The main way, if we don't do it this way, the only people who are going to spend time in prison are poor people who can't get their way through life, are way below the probationary path, and are suffering because they're angry, hostile, possessed people, completely soulless, and they're in prison. But they're not the ones who should be there. Yeah? The ones who should be there are the corrupt souls who corrupt others. Yeah? The leaders of that process of delusions and glamour and everything that comes with it. Yeah? And they hold money and power, and they are capitalism. Whether they're the clergy or the military or the police force or the president, it's all inside this bullshit capitalistic belief system. And that has nothing to do with Christ. Yeah? Nothing. Yeah? So when Christ, the process of that comes in, it brings, just like we have right now, $3 trillion toward the recovery of the United States, the healing of children, the putting people back to school, bringing in vaccines that are safe, you know, and eliminate the process of us being the one nation who's going to go to hell faster than any other nation. That's where we were going. Yeah? Everybody was, you know, we have tons of people out there right now who believe that, you know, we have to get ready for a nuclear war. We have to get ready for a civil war. We have to get ready for us to take over the military and you know, as though we're back in the 1700s and the militia is necessary. You know, we shouldn't even be using terms militia. Militia is before you have a government. You know, when you don't even have governments and you got all kinds of illegal scenarios and you have a state or you have a colony, you have these different things of separation and power. Yeah, we're not there. That was hundreds of years ago. But yet people are speaking with those terms, and they're all based on hate. And those are the things that built up capitalism. You know, out of that we got capitalism. Yeah. So all of this, for us to heal, is based on healing through the first three initiations. And the first initiation is being able to attune to the chakras, the spiritual side of our divinity. Yeah. So I'm going to do our meditation, our prayer is going to be on the invocation of the 7 rays to the 7 chakras. Yeah. So let's do a prayer, the invocation of the ashram, and then we'll do the prayer. Okay, just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. to energize and heal, to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, just relax, and we'll do the Om about every 10 seconds. I'll start the Om. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of your ashram, soul, and monad. To guide you into the right activity in the plan. Second ray to your heart center. I invoke the alignment of the sixth ray to your solar plexus. base center. nature of the Buddha that you are to become. I invoke the mind of the Devic angelic celestial spheres, the sounds of heaven, the sounds of God, the song of love, Okay, just relax. Okay, you can open your eyes. All right. So, I did that puja for you so that you can relate to it. It's a puja I put together for your relationship of taking on the path, and it helps me transmit to your chakras and into the earth, and it gives you the invocation we do in the beginning, calling upon your ashram, soul, and monad. It aligns to your chakras, it aligns to the right path, it aligns to healing and dispelling of all the glamours in the world. So it's very much a good meditation. If you want to calm down and you want to clear your mind of negative thoughts or things that you would like to become more Dharma and right action and right intention and all of that, and you want it to be coming out in your nature, as how you speak and how you express and how you act, you need to meditate. You need to meditate. I did this stuff because my teachings is so big. And in a billion years, I'm still going to be sitting here as your teacher. And you're still going to be going, whoa, this is intense. How does he come up with that? That's amazing. More clear, more understanding, more wisdom, more understanding, more clarity. Because your understanding, your empathy, your practice, your intention is raising you up and creating the Buddha field, the kingdom of the soul. It's creating it. It exists. It needs to exist. It's sitting there just waiting to be a part of everybody's life. Not just the kingdom of humanity. It's in the kingdom of humanity that you take these understandings by taking the teacher and raising yourself up into the aura of the teacher. And that becomes an ashram. It's very slow because this is a big planet and there's only one teacher. And you're under the illusion that you're going to become the teacher and you're going to have an ashram and you're going to, and it ain't going to happen. But it has happened. Just because it has happened doesn't mean it should happen. So this whole process is going to be a clearing, and you're going to use my pujas for tens of hundreds of thousands of years to better understand the teachings, because they're so in a state of enlightenment. Even though at the time when I did them, in the time, when I was 40 years old and it was 1991, and I had the opportunity, I only had 1 week to lay down all these tracks in a professional studio in Lahaina, in Maui, and I had that opportunity. I had the money in hand. I got all the bowls and everything I needed, all my instruments, which I had never physically played before, and gathered everything and put my pyramid in there and sat down and wrote up all my pujas, put them on pieces of paper in front of me, just like I do when I do soul therapy for people. So all I did was that I reenacted soul therapy that I do when I do it with people. When they came for my soul therapy, I put them in a pyramid and I do these pujas. I read off my pujas, I play my bells and bowls, and I'd heal them, and I'd invoke angels, and I'd bring out all this change. So that all was put into CD form, able for you to receive soul therapy and for the pujas to be actually put on CD. But I only had 7 days to do that in. And every time I finished a track, there was a witch standing outside, ready to slap me in the face, push me around, and treat me like shit. And there was nothing I could do about it. I could just stand there and take the slap, stand there and take the conflict, stand there and take the words, and then say, okay, I think it's time for me to go back in there and do another track, because I can't hear anything from in there. I'm fine. I just sit there and it's all silent, and it's only me and what I'm doing and my headset. So I continued doing that, but every time I finished a track and I'd walk out to listen to it with everybody else, there'd be this witch standing out there ready to just beat the shit out of me the moment I stepped out the door. And it happened every time. So it's not like I'm sitting in a place of fanfare and support and anything like that. I had no other people playing instruments. The person that was at the board doing the recording, he was going crazy because I couldn't tell him how long I was going to record or what I was going to record on because I had no idea. It was all spontaneous. But we set it up to where try this, listen to this one, listen to this one. I'll try only play these 3 bowls and this drum, and that's it for right now. So we get it all set up. He would start to calm down. By the time I got to the 3rd day, everything burnt out in the unit, in the recording unit. It was gone. It was over with. They couldn't use it anymore. So we had to call an engineer in. They came in, checked it out, got it fixed, and all under warranty, so everything worked out fine, and they gave me those days extra, a total of 7 days again, and so I was able to finish off all the things that you listen to were done in those 7 days. All the foundation tracks and everything. A lot of the vocals I did later in London in another studio. But every single thing done with instruments was done in that studio, and it was done with warfare going on around me at the same time. And and at the same time I was not eating or sleeping, and I was meditating 24 hours a day at night. I would meditate because there was a war in Iraq, a 90-day war, and I had to end it because we were going to go into a really bad nuclear process, and it was going to well up into something very bad. Like either it was going to be nuclear or it was going to be different types of anthrax or other things of product that is made in Iraq and Iran that they would like to disperse, which they do commonly. All these viruses and things like that, which is what they did all throughout Iraq. You'd find villages everywhere, people dead, by being hit by these viruses, as viral warfare. So that was on my mind. That's where my intention was at. The reason why I did the pujas, because I didn't think you all had much to go for. Things were going to go down fast. So I had to spend all 7 days sitting there in puja, not eating, in meditation, and doing these ceremonial pujas. And when I started, I put a note on my seat. When I sat down to meditate for the first time on the first day of the war, I set it out to be a 90-day war, and I would carry this meditation out for 90 days. And at the end of that 90-day, the war ended. They closed it off. It was our shortest war we ever had, a 90-day war, and that's because of what I did and the effects of how that affected. We had more things I'd tell you about. It's quite a story. They should make movies over my day-to-day reality, But in this situation of putting these pujas out, they were under the central core of the astral plane, of the delusions of glamour and everything. Some of the worst witches and warlocks were surrounding me. And at the same time, I had extraterrestrial processes going on. I had demons from everywhere, literally on the island at the time. I had people dressed up, men dressed up as women, who was a manifestation of Arhaman, who I had to overthrow. And all this is being done over that short cycle of time while I'm making these pujas. So you may have in your mind, these would be the proper way to do this, like make the puja, celebrate after making the tracks, have a good day, be ready for the next day, rest well, have a nice breakfast, get up, go to the studio, do your work, 8 hours of work, get off, go out, celebrate, have a good time, wake up in the morning, go back and do it. No. Not one day, not 1 minute, not a meal, not a happy moment, not a smile, nothing. All I had was demons 24/7 coming at me, that I had to stand up against and talk to and revolt against and stop, from their future processes that they were carrying out. And it worked, So that was just the 90s. And 10 years after that, I'm standing in Tibet receiving enthronements by 2001. So that whole work of doing the pujas of Tibetan Buddhism and everything sealed the door of the astral plane that was worse than what you could ever imagine. We got Trump, but Trump is the outcome, is a healing crisis of where we're at. You're in a state of a healing crisis. You're not in the state of where it was before. Before you had Michael Jackson, Saya Baba, you had all these people and Trump living the high life as though they never did anything wrong. And I had to bust them. And I did. And they all died by 2001. So it was a complete shift for humanity. And the pujas, all the blessings that are in those pujas made that possible because I was the representative of the Sangha. Playing that puja was the music of the Sangha forever. And it laid it down for the first time, first tracks, everything. So just doing it made it possible for the future for Sangha to exist. Without the pujas, there is no Sangha. Without the pujas, there's no Shambhala. Without the pujas, there's no me. So laying that down and going through that war created this opportunity. So this will get us through what's going to be a hell on earth between now and the year 2035. And we're going to have floods and we're going to have shit. We have a wobbly moon. We have high tides. We have, water going up. We have the process of the greenhouse effect. All of that is coming down on us. And if we don't attune to the Sangha and the Dharma and the Buddha and start our practices of right mind, right meditation, and all those things, we will not make it through this process without having extreme PTSD and other fears that are projected into our life, that everything can't be trusted. We're being pushed up against the temporariness of Germany and all of Europe and all of Florida and all of Chicago and all of North Carolina, which will not be there after 2035. Most of those places will be like underwater, in a flood-like form. You can't have a business when your street is underwater and your first floor is underwater. You just can't have business. So millions, hundreds of millions of people are going to be out of jobs and out of homes between now and the year 2035. That's nothing compared to the virus and all that's going on. So we need to actively understand the need for us to help others become Sangha. As many people as you can. By doing yourself, you hit hundreds of thousands of people. So just maintain that. But just know that the amount of power that goes into the process of handing a CD track to somebody or an etheric weaver to someone, and helping them receive an etheric weaver healing and get them into your pyramid because you bought a pyramid and now you allow them to try that, and don't just keep it in your house and sit in it and go, oh boy, I'm really getting enlightened. Well, my next door neighbor sucks. Come on, we have to save our neighbors. We have to save everybody. If you have a pyramid, invite the police to your house. Ask them to do meditations, everybody. It's an easy thing to do. Is kindness and caring and sharing and healing and being a saint. You don't know you're a saint. I give you the tools to be a saint. All you got to do is begin practicing the Dharma. All right. Enjoy. Thank you.